and so much more.
It's a fact for you, mate.
For all the Wrestling with Figs podcast listeners and Figs Down Under community members, use code FDU5 to save 5% off your next purchase store-wide.
You're gonna be joking me!
5%, yeah. Visit them online at gofigurecollectibles.com.au, or if you're in the Melbourne area, go check out the store on 104 Bakers Road, Coburg, North Victoria, and say g'day to Jeff and the team.
G'day, mates.
Support local and support Go Figure Collectibles, who continue to do great things for the collecting community down under.
And go.
We love Jeff. We love Go Figure. And let's get into meet and greet.
You never believe who I met at the shops. Who was it? I met someone at the airport. What, are you a stalker? No, I was there to pick up my mum. Yeah, right. Who'd you meet? Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan. Did you meet CM Punk? You met the big red machine Kane, didn't you? Did you meet Mankind? Oh my God, you met Marty Jannetty. I bumped into Paul Heyman.
Now, this is an interesting meet and greet segment this week, Chris, because I have chosen, much like my What's Online, non-wrestling related meet and greets.
Can I say, before I do this, I'm really disappointed you didn't choose the picture of me with Ron Barassi.
Uncle Ron.
And I'm disappointed you pretended to not know who he was. So that was actually at the 2013 Grand Final. I met him at the Grand Final when I went to see my beloved Dockers play the Hawks, and they lost, unfortunately. And I was just walking into the ground. I was like, "You're on Barassi." And he was like, "G'day, mate." He goes, "Would you like a photo?" And I was like 29 years old. I was like, "Yes, Mr. Barassi, I'd love a photo."
Mate, to be honest with you, I knew who he was. I don't know much about him, but I know he's a legend in the AFL arena.
Definitely legend. Probably one of the most famous names in AFL football.
Yeah, right. Did your team get flogged that day?
13 points. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, right. It's gut-wrenching when your team loses a grand final.
It's the only one they've ever been in, so that's the only one we can gauge it on. 26 years we've never won a flag.
Wow. Alrighty, so where is my list gone, Chris? All right, here we go. So I've got, first up I've got Josh Blake, and he's met the entire KISS band. I imagine Lucas Manita is loving this one. Great photo. Look how happy he looks too.
Have I ever told you that I once waited the table of the KISS?
No.
So it was Gene Simmons and is it Paul Stanley?
Yep, the lead singer, yep.
It was just the two of them, wasn't the rest of the band. They came into Coco's restaurant in South Perth here, and I used to work there as a cocktail barman back in the day. And they both had very, very nice young people with them. Yep. And I went and brought them a few drinks, and they were not interested in me one bit. But yeah. Used to get a few good people with it through there. We actually had Sting through there, and
wow.
Iglesias, Julio Iglesias, Bill Clinton. So yeah,
wow.
Lots of fun people.
So, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Next, we have got Tim King, and he has met the co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman.
Yeah, very cool.
Great photo.
And cool that after the Toys That Made Us as well.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny, Kevin Eastman, but I still can't remember the other guy's name.
Yeah.
And he's the one that carried him for much longer than Kevin Eastman.
And great story as well, isn't it?
Yeah. What about Kevin Eastman buying a tank when he made his first million? An army tank.
What are you going to do when you make your first million?
Mate, I'd be buying. I'd be on the pre-pro page buying up any Hasbro prototype I could. Peter Laird, there you go. Peter Laird is his name. Thank you, Andrew.
With my first million is my second million.
And next we have got Jeff Shureb, and he's met Freddy Krueger, a.k.a. Robert Englund.
I like the fact that you've played the pose there too, Jeff, with your Bret the Hitman Hart shirt on. It's good work. 10
points, mate. That glove or claw, whatever you want to call it, that would scare the hell out of me as a child. I just remember Freddy Krueger as a in the 80s was quite big, wasn't he? And that
He was
claw,
huge.
yeah, that was quite scary. So
You know who else was scary in the 80s was Chucky.
yeah.
Man, people used to go nuts for that stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Awesome.
I don't get it.
No, I'm not a huge horror guy. I love the Chucky movies. They're all pretty cool. Freddy, I don't think I've watched one of them. But yeah, I watched a few horror movies in my time, but I always get too scared. All right, thanks everyone for sending those through. Great, great.
You're doing
Street
street
cred,
cred, no favours,
Yeah.
mate. I got a little bit scared.
Oh, I'm man enough to admit it. All right, let's slide into the Q&As, and this is the Go Fig.
It's question time. It's question time. It's time to ask the boys a question. What's on your mind? Let us know and we will tell you the answer.
This is our Go Figure Collectibles monthly giveaway, and the giveaway this month is a championship
Big Boss Man
showdown.
British Bulldog Championship Showdown double pack. It is awesome. I want this. I don't actually have this. Might have to buy one from Jeff as well. So the only thing that we're not sure about is why the Big Boss Man plate is in his plate gear, and the Big Boss Man figure is in his corporation gear. So, but super cool figures. I've actually got that Boss Man, the Elite that came out like that.
Okay.
Which is really cool. So
Yeah, awesome. All right, here we go. First question. This is from Darren Fogarty. Whilst AEW is not as big as WCW yet, what can WWE do to arrest the momentum that AWE is gaining?
Well, let me tell you this. Firstly, less talking. Have you watched a Raw lately? I reckon here's what I'm going to do. Before the next pod, I'm on holidays. I'm going to watch an episode of Raw, and I'm going to get a stopwatch, and I'm going to time how much wrestling there actually is on the show.
Yeah.
Because you watch the show, and and the acting and the talking is just crap.
Yeah.
So less of that stuff. Secondly, if you hit a finisher, the match is over.
Yeah.
I can't stand watching matches where you see Undertaker hit 7 tombstones and then all of a sudden his opponent gets up, and it's become a joke. You know, when you watch wrestling in the 80s and 90s, Hogan drops a leg, the match is over. Ric Flair gets the figure 4 locked in, the match is over. Hitman gets the sharpshooter locked in, the match is over. There's no, we'll do it 5 times. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
And it loses credibility to the actual match and to the wrestler to say, you can just keep kicking out every single time.
Yeah.
I just think that's a big thing. So, and they've got to somehow find a connection with the fans, because there's a big disconnect now after COVID. AEW have somehow nailed the fan connection. People love it. They're really into it. WWE feels like it's very separate, and the fans, you've got your super fans who watch everything because they won't change, but then you've got your general wrestling fans who are like, actually that product is better down the road.
Yeah. So for me, admittingly, I haven't really watched modern day wrestling for a very long time, but what I do notice is there was some serious talent in WWE, The Fiend being one of them. And what I've noticed is that I remember I saw Goldberg win the championship again. I was like, what? He should have been long retired. So I just feel if they're recycling old stock, so to speak, and trying to relive those glory days, they're obviously not focusing on their juniors coming through. And in a team sport perspective, you focus on juniors to bring them through the ranks, to blood them, and then hopefully they win you a premiership, right? If you're trying to recycle your has-beens, product gets a bit stale and therefore creates disconnection and a lack of focus from the fans.
You know what else they've really lacked is decent commentary teams. That really the commentary's been crap on WWE for a while, and managers. The managers, other than Paul Heyman, they need to get back into having those personalities who provide the segue between the fans and the superstars. And you nearly dislike them more than you actually like who they're representing. But like Bobby the Brain, Slick, Mr. Fuji, they didn't have
Jimmy
to
Hart.
say anything. Paul Bearer, they didn't have to say one word.
Yeah.
But they could just give a look or do one thing that would just piss you off
Yeah.
and get you into the match. Like just so they need to find ways of doing that.
Jimmy Hart was a classic. You could always hear him in the background. He was awesome.
He still looks exactly the same too.
He does. Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Riley Emerson. He says, you have no clue about Hasbro's in current day series 1 to 5 are in stock. If you had the choice to pick two off the shelf, who would it be? And who would you open or keep mint on card? Keep in mind you have no knowledge of the value Keep in mind you have no knowledge of the value they go for in the aftermarket. It's a good question.
Yeah, so choosing a Hasbro from Series 1 to 5 without any knowledge or preparedness to have for collectability,
you can only pick two.
That's a tough question.
I'll go. For me, I would have to go. You'd have to use your nostalgic muscle here. So for me, Series 2, Hasbro Hogan. And hands down, as a kid, I would have picked the British Bulldog for sure.
See, if I was picking now as an adult, it would be Macho 1. Or actually, you know what? It'd probably still be Macho King with the crown and scepter.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I'll probably be picking Hogan as well to feud him. Probably Hogan 1. I'll just be taking that one. As a kid, I would be going good guy, bad guy, but I still don't think I could go past. If I had all those Hasbros there as a kid, I would choose Hogan 1 and Warrior 3. Purple Warrior.
Warrior 3, yeah, right. Okay.
Because I just think those two, there's more playability. Warrior 1 was the jumper. Warrior 2 was the same as Hogan 1. So you wouldn't get the same action. But really good question.
Who would you open?
I'd open them all. What do you need them in the packet for? They're not going to be worth anything.
I would open my Bulldog and I would leave my Bear Hugging Hogan mint on card.
And if I had knowledge, I'd be saying, I'll choose 2 Dusty Rhodes, thanks, and I'll be leaving.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'd go a Dusty Rhodes and an Andre the Giant.
I'd be checking all of the Dusties for the foot crack on each spot.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Andrew Webster. If you had to create figures of each other, so Chris creating James and James creating Chris, which of the following would you use from existing figures? Body sculpt, head sculpt, soft goods. Oh, this would be good.
Well, I did mention in the comments of this post for James, we'd have to find a really short elite, like a Hornswoggle figure. Mate. Look, it's a tough call. Like, who do you look like? Who would you use for the head? You're probably easy to choose your own.
Don't get out of that. Don't get out of it that way, mate. I'm thinking.
I think if I had to choose somebody for James, I think a Randy Orton. There must be a Randy Orton with a beard who could look a little bit like James's head. But
nice.
The body, though, that's the head, mate, not the rest. The body, maybe Brodus Clay. Do you remember Brodus Clay?
Brodus Clay. No, you choose another one.
The Funkasaurus. Or we could just stick with Dusty Rhodes' body. Dusty Rhodes' body. Look, soft goods. We'd have to have the Wrestling with Figs. I nearly said the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. The Wrestling with Figs podcast hoodie as a soft goods accessory. And obviously James's pink budgie smuggler tights to wear as his wrestling attire.
Nice. Well, mate, now that you were so harsh there, I'm going to go even harsher. Mate, after seeing you as I've seen your twin brother King Kong Bundy with hair.
Yeah.
I'd go King Kong Bundy legs.
Yep.
With nice black boots. I would go and I would have you in the